So I started to put in some of these lines just as a marker. I got the face pretty much done. I did put a little wash on that beak. I still think it needs to be a little shinier. So I'm going to use my shiny, whatchamacallit, Liquitex Clear Gloss. Now I started to put these dots in here. Now see under here, I use the gray because they fade. Just like in the picture. You can see that some of these dots are faded in the white areas and then they're darker in other places. So that's kind of cool. And to do that in there. I still have quite a bit of work left to do. But I think he's gonna look pretty good. And then I'll have that claw coming out over the foot. Ooh, 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 ooh. So I'm working on the details of the wing. So what am I doing? Just put in the rest of these dots, little feathers. Okay, now see, this is a kind of a problem for me. I don't want that to scoop out. So I might have to, add some batting back here to stiffen that up because I want that to, come straight down. And then I got to get that foot in there. So that's looking pretty good. I added this dark around the face. And I kind of noticed, it's not as elongated face. This is a much more elongated. But I still think that's all right. I mean, it doesn't have to be exact. But if I do another one, I'll keep that in mind. And I put these little dots on top for detail. Here I did a little bit of brown, and then I put gray over top. Then I've got all these like little spots to do. Look at those little things. Do a black and then put a, I don't know, maybe a gray or a light white in there or something. So he's coming along. I got all these in here. See, it's important to trim as you go, so that they're not connecting the dots. And you can see here that I connected, so I'm going to trim that off. Just try to keep that the right way. Now, if you notice, I don't cover everything with the yellow because then it becomes less realistic in my opinion. If I add more yellow on top, then it becomes darker. So you can see it's darker. Here I laid some of the beige batting on top, just so it's not so uniform. I think it lends to the realism. Now, when I look at this wing, I'm kind of overwhelmed by all the work that needs to be done on it. So I'm just going to take this section right here and see if I can do that. So I'm going to use that to hold them up. And I'm going to take some of my brown. I think I'm going to mix it with some of this and work that wing. And just pay attention to that one wing. So It comes down here. It's hard to see everything. It's like trying to draw leaves on a tree. You don't really draw all the leaves. You just do the detail, the ones in the foreground. At least that's what I do. You know? Now I notice that that comes in like that. You know, it's not like anybody's going to have this picture and compare, oh, you missed that spot or whatever. The idea is to make it convincing. Does this convince you it's an owl? And that's the name of the game. Also, you know, how much time do you want to spend? I want to spend enough that I'm proud enough to put my signature on it. If I'm not satisfied with it, then somebody else is not going to be satisfied with it. Plus, I don't want to be embarrassed by my work. I just can't leave it if I'm not satisfied with it. Now, see, that was kind of a happy accident to come across there like that. But mixing the colors together helps save a lot of time because you get little things you may not even have thought to do. See the different colors there? Now, right about here, you can see this little white feather. I'm going to put that in. It's a nice little detail, and it'll make, you know, a difference between the chest and the wing. So I'm going to poke that in there and try to make that look like that. Now it looks like it comes out and back, so I want to beef it up this way. This white is nice and soft. It really knits together well. I'm going to take this out now and tuck that up underneath. Kind of want it to be not knitted into the body, but more knit into the wing. Then it looks like it sits off like it does. Now here's the trick I show you. You put your fingers together and you don't pull the needle all the way out. You just kind of like in and out. That way you don't poke yourself as much. So there we go. That's a nice little detail. Now I would spend more time on that. Okay, but that's just giving you the idea. So if I can get, you know, my basic shapes down, then I can go back and perfect them. If you have a problem seeing what you're doing, you can turn your reference to the side and then you pay more attention to the shapes than what you think it looks like. Put that in here. Let's cut that off. Kind of having a hard time seeing what's there. Maybe I'll put a little here. A little there. So you just spin that around. this should be brown. So I started to put these in. And I could add some in here maybe. Do it in an offset. It'll look like a lot of wool, but once you knit it in there, not so much. Plus I need to stiffen up this end so it doesn't curve.